Hello there, ladies and gentlefolk, and welcome to another episode of Zcast. This week we have Burn, KO, and Squee. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi. They won't let me leave.
No, you are chained.
It's funny because all we've done
Squee.
is attach them to the wall with construction paper and convinced him that they're unbreakable, and he's still there.
No,
I don't want paper cuts.
it seems perfectly reasonable to me. I mean, we've convinced them that they're unbreakable, therefore they're technically unbreakable. So we've created unbreakable construction paper.
And we currently have HJK in a box where we're performing the Schrodinger experiment.
Yeah, if I had a gun, and then if he's not being observed, he's not there, so...
Exactly. As long as we don't open that box, he is both alive and dead to us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which technically doesn't always make me a murderer, so that's fine.
Yeah, it only makes me half a murderer. And the courts can't prosecute half a murderer.
Absolutely fine. Alright, so, yeah. Week 2. Earth Defenders letting down North Kai again.
That's
Yeah.
Dragon Ball Warriors letting down East Kai. Everybody letting down West Kai. And
Team
Gohan's
Cold
letting down
surprising
South
the
Kai.
hell out of everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Apparently that's a thing now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the first match of week 2 was Gohan against the Saiyans. Super Saiyans. Same thing. That was
No, not even close.
No? You sure?
I thought it was a really fun match to watch. I still have to shake my head in frustration. I really want, and for the love of God, Gohans, go on the forums and explain this to me. Why is Teen Gohan not Super Saiyan 2? I cannot grasp this concept. You realize you would probably have 2 victories under your belt right now. If he had been.
Pretty much.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, the rest of your team
the
is
match
working.
was the match was really interesting because it would have been the Super Saiyan. I think the Super Saiyans got pretty unlucky because they caught like 2 B2s or an Ultimate and a B2, which basically turned the match from being pretty even to this is an absolute slaughter, right up until Adult Gohan came out. I think that was more than anything what turned it, but yeah, I agree. Teen Gohan performing anywhere near where he should have been.
Yeah.
Least,
No. I mean, the simple truth is that if Teen Gohan had stepped out as a Super Saiyan 2 with the savior that you had given him, and he did half of what he used to do last season, that match would have been yours.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe with a lot of tinkering they can get him somewhat decent halfway through the season, but I don't think Super Saiyan 1 could ever match the Super Saiyan 2 levels.
But it take a lot of tinkering.
Oh yeah, a lot of tinkering, a lot of messing around with AIs, and
Which is why I don't understand it. Yeah, did you guys find something in the testing that we just haven't seen yet? I don't understand.
supposedly they have pretty much the same exact B2 setup. The big difference is the ultimate, and apparently SSJ1 was better in melee, according to testing. So that's why they chose SSJ1 over SSJ2.
That's like saying you found a build that made Majub a little bit better at melee, but in order to do it, you had to take away his ultimate.
That sounds
Yeah.
completely reasonable.
In fact, I think that is so close that I could just switch the names out.
Yeah, that sounds about right. It was a fun match to watch though. Like from a purely entertainment point of view, it was really, really cool. Like you had the Gohans basically taking command of the game pretty much from the outset. And then just that end performance from Adult Gohan was really good. I mean, regardless of Teen Gohan fucking it up, it was still a phenomenal performance just to not get the shit kicked out of him at the end. It was really, really impressive. Like there was absolutely no hope if he started taking loads of damage.
Oh yeah, I mean, and don't mistake me. I'm not suggesting that the Gohans have screwed up their team because, like Rebel said, if this shows anything, it shows how powerful a team the Gohans can be this season. It's just that if you had kept Teen Gohan, well, put it this way: if you can fix Teen Gohan, you will be a really scary team.
Mm-hmm. It's just a shame that he has to actually be fixed. It's a really weird choice that you would even... Like, I can understand testing it out a little bit, but it's a very odd choice to, like, get rid of something that was basically your strongest player last season. Or, at the very least, one of them.
Unless they're a bunch of, sadists. That might be...
Yeah, no, that could be it. That could be it.
On the other hand, the Super Saiyans, an impressive team as always. I like that the Super Saiyans are doing well with their huge shift. I mean, the Super Saiyans, understandably, have had more work to do than most other teams this season because they've had almost a complete... While their lineup hasn't changed, all their transformations have. Mm-hmm. And I think they've done well adapting to that.
No, they absolutely have. It's been really, really impressive.
Yeah, and it's not as much of a slaughter anymore in the matches as it used to be.
Yeah, it's actually quite close.
Yeah, you know
Both
what, though? That's what kind of scares me, though, is that what if you give them half a season to really nail all this stuff down, and who knows, we might start seeing that again.
Well, that's why I'm glad I faced them before the half of the season.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's close to the middle of the season. What week do you actually face them in? Week 7, isn't it?
7.
That's close to the half of the season, KO. You're getting risky there.
Yeah, but it's not season 10 like a certain other team.
Week 10.
Week 10.
Are there still any old supporters from last season on the Super Saiyan?
Literally Crimson Flame with me helping him. And I don't know what else Burn or anybody else is doing, but yeah.
Well, pretty much. Bravo to Crimson for adapting well. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Very, very nice job.
The only thing that I supply with him with is Protara interactions and like base stats of certain things, like how would Master Blast affect this and blah blah blah.
And steroids for adult Gohan. That's it. But that's all we supply them.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that makes me like technically the second most active Super Saiyans, but shit.
Yeah.
Yay!
How far?
I'm glad you crossed that bridge.
Woo! Good job, me.
Yeah, realization is the first step to healing, Rebel.
Son of a bitch! What have I done? No, he's doing a really good job. It's very, very impressive with what Super Saiyan's capable of doing. Anybody else got anything else for that match?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Next match was the Dragon Ball Warriors against the Saiyans, and the Dragon Ball Warriors took their second loss. Very surprising.
Yeah.
It was a really good match, though. It was sad.
Yeah.
Bardock really hated his son. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah, poor Goku's. Just all of the Gokus got kind of trashed.
Yeah.
Will say it was kind of hilarious, but from an entertainment point of view rather than this is a good match.
What I think was hilarious was that when he was not facing a Goku, Bardock did nothing.
Yeah.
You can't just hit someone else's son. That's how you get in trouble.
Yeah, man. That's how you get sent to jail. You only smack your own kid.
Yeah, he was just disciplining his children.
Yeah.
My bad. But the Saiyans, I'm not really sure what they need to do now. I'm not sure what their focus is. Their team is average, which isn't horrible, but it's also not what we used to see. One season,
really
2 seasons ago.
Like, Scout of Vegeta just isn't so much Scout of Vegeta anymore. Bardock's kind of weird now, and the other 3 players on their team are just not very good. I mean, like, you look at that lineup now, and you look at like Bardock and Scout of Vegeta, and you're looking at that going, okay, that's actually the 2 pretty solid players, with the potential to be insane. And then you have Nappa, Turles, and Raditz. It's like, okay, where's that extra? Like, if you swap out any one of those players and you put King Vegeta in there instead, suddenly that lineup actually starts to look pretty intimidating.
I agree with Turles and Nappa. I think my jury is still out on Raditz. He's only had 1 week, and he did really well week 1. I want to see more of him.
Just basically what he is and what he can do is all right and not that impressive.
Agreed. On paper, King Vegeta looks better than Raditz. I still want to see Raditz more. I want to see a couple of weeks and see how he does consistently before I'll get behind that. But for Nappa and Turles, absolutely, I think King Vegeta would have been a better choice than either of those two.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
Yep.
But what about the Dragon Ball Warriors? I mean, for a team that finished or played as strongly throughout last season as they did, it's quite surprising to see them not do quite so well at the beginning of this season.
Well, I think one of the things might be that they have a new team member, which Vern knows very well.
Yes.
But who did they drop again for the
Grandpa Gohan?
Yeah, Grandpa Gohan did really good for most of last season, if memory serves right. And then they come in with this new Goku, who's known for, the whole Goku thing has, derping all around it in the league, but I just wonder if they still had Grandpa Gohan, if they'd be doing better.
I don't know. An awful lot of their players seem to be getting the shit kicked out of them at the wrong times, and not really being able to recover quite so well as they, usually would have been able to do.
Yeah.
I think there's less tagging involved as well.
Yeah, definitely a lot less tagging. But week 1, the biggest thing that they had against them was the fact that Nam got the shit kicked out of him, so he was not a non-player basically. And this week they benched Nam, so I can see it against the Saiyans, but I don't know. Early Goku probably would have been a stronger bench against them, in my opinion. But then again, he could also be considered your weakest, or Kid Goku could be considered your weakest, and blah, 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 blah. There's semantics and all that. But if Nam had been there, you guys probably would have had it handily, in my opinion.
They certainly would have had a better chance at it.
Yeah.
I mean, they are facing up against the Valkyries next week, so they might have wanted to make sure that they had Nam for that one. And they had then a range of options for the other weeks coming forward.
Yeah, I definitely want to see more as the week progress, how they do, because I'm not convinced that they, as a team, are bad more than just they've had some bad matchups. Even early Goku actually did pretty well. His timing was the only problem. I mean, he went out there with a great combo, hit with an ultimate. If the guy hadn't been lying on the ground, would have done a lot more damage. So I want to see more from them before I really kind of say, they need more work,
Yeah.
Yeah, it could just be like a rocky start or something.
Yeah, I mean, they've got a pretty nasty start to the season. Like, Super Saiyan's first one, Saiyan's, not necessarily that tricky of a second game in theory, but then you've got the Valkyries coming up after that, who are really strong. Cold after that, again, really, really strong. Going into the margins straight after that. And, that's giving the Blades in week 6 5 weeks to get off their pretty poor start to the season. Which, wow, that was awesome. I should do this professionally. That leads us on to match 3. Which
favorite
was
match of the night.
It's against the margins. Wow, I'm really good at this. That was completely unintentional. Shit. Yeah, KO, take it away.
I have to say that I think the most surprising thing with this match was Babidi. He did
awesome.
He did over 62,000 damage in that match.
Well, good job on fixing Babidi, you bastard.
No. If you listen to my illustrious co-com, Babidi was never needed to be fixed. He was always good, which I don't agree with, but it's really hard to argue with him right now. Thanks a lot, KO.
No, see, what Babidi's problem was that he always had the potential, but I always used him the wrong way. I tried to force something. I tried to force like an ultimate build on him. I am, but I tried to force like an ultimate build on him, and I didn't really take advantage of he loves using his rush B2s. Let's just throw Dragon Power on him. Let's see how that works. Do an old Rugrat strategy.
Yep.
Don't encourage them. Don't encourage them. What have you done?
But what do you mean don't encourage them? I need something to cripple Gotenks.
Yeah. Yeah,
but
you do.
Deborah did just as well as Babidi, just barely getting any more damage than him, and then it was great, great night from my team.
Yeah.
The team has been doing really, really well. You know, top tier team that we saw last season coming through almost stronger than they were before.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Blades themselves, though, like from the position that they were in last season of ending the season quite strong, you know, they were a big threat last season, have really hit the pan this season. You know, they're not. The various tests and stuff that they've done and the claims of, oh, Yajirobe's going to be OP and we've got all of these guys sorted out here, there, and everywhere, and none of that's really showed, and their games haven't really been that close.
Yeah,
very true.
I wonder if the coach switch was really a big factor in. Not that I'm saying the new coach is bad. It's just, you know, you get rid of a coach that has, you know, multiple season experience with the team, and then you get a new coach in that is trying something different, and you know,
Yeah,
that
it could be. And there's an awful lot of discussion that goes along in the Blade sub forum. It's just seems to be poorly directed and not really going. There seems to be a lot more like butting of heads rather than working together, which I think might be the big problem. And a lot of like sticking to previous ideas just because they were previous ideas and they were my ideas.
Another thing I think might also be a problem, and I'm not going to get too much into it, but the coach that was there, Wicked Phantom, before he left, pushed really hard for his ideas and thought his ideas were really, really good. And we saw in week 1, they weren't. They had some really bad, like the idea of nerfing Cyborg Tao's B2s to make him hyper melee. I get making him a melee character, but his B2s are so good. Why in the world would you nerf them?
Yeah. And that's the thing, like, that's the thing with stuff like the off-season testing and just testing in general, is you can get a test to show whatever you want a test to show. The fact is that when it comes into a match, it's completely different. Like, you can organize a test to say, okay, this is how this character's going to perform, and they're going to win like this. And you can do that. It's perfectly possible in a test. When it comes to an actual match where you're being looked at and that your builds are being analyzed and you're, you know, trying to mesh it with an entire team, it just doesn't work.
Yep.
So it'll be interesting to see whether the Blades manage to turn that around going forward in the season.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they can. I do really enjoy the, you know, I like the team and stuff, and now that I face them, I hope they can get everything really together and, you know, get back on the ball.
After you've already beaten them. Okay.
That seems reasonable. I can get back.
Yeah. Another pretty big factor that, or at least sort of big factor that I could see was they weren't really testing that much per se, in that they weren't testing their characters as much as their entire team versus other teams.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for most of their tests, they literally went, okay, we're going to test against ED. So we're going to simulate a match against Earth Defenders. All right, we won. So we're going to win during the season. And then we're going to simulate a test against Dragon Ball Warriors. Okay, we won. We're going to simulate another test against blah, 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 blah. That's the kind of testing that they were doing instead of actually testing characters.
Yeah, and
So
really, really poor way of doing things. And it's probably going to really hurt them coming into the main season.
Mm-hmm.
But hopefully they have enough time to kind of figure some things out.
They're going to need to use the matches well in order to actually get that information and take the information on board quickly.
I mean,
wait. Testing on the field? No. What? No.
Yeah, I know no team actually does that very much, but it's actually quite effective. You know.
I will say, at least Janembo's throwing out some B2s and hitting with them really well, so that's something.
Yeah, that is a good change.
And hell, Sword Trunks threw out his ultimate right in front of, I think, Babidi's face and crippled him.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's the Blades. They're
Otherwise,
still
Babidi.
a technically strong team, and there are going to be moments where the characters do well. It's just the overall performance for them has been exceptionally poor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was actually surprised they sat Tapion.
But you know what? Like we said, it's a new management. We'll give him some, give him some time to hit the ground running. Who knows? We may see a really strong team at the end of the season.
Certainly something to hope for.
Oh yeah.
Next match was Cold vs the Valkyries.
Oh damn!
Good.
Jesus.
I really think and Piff and I both said it during the match itself. I can understand what the Valves were thinking. Let's rotate out our strongest character because it's Team Cold. But holy crap, did that bite them in the butt?
Yeah, again, the Valkyries have a divisional match coming up again next week, so it's not necessarily a bad idea. So.
I'm not suggesting it was the wrong move. I might have, basically, if they'd come to me and said this, I would have been like, that's not a bad way to go about it. But I'm just saying that the results were, if Fasha had been in there, this might have been a different match.
Yeah.
That Frieza, though. God damn, that Frieza.
Yeah, the whole performance from Team Cold was actually quite reasonable. They've had a really good start to the season.
Yeah, and one of them didn't even touch the field during the match, right?
Mecha Frieza.
Yeah, Mecha Frieza.
Yeah.
That's right.
Metacooler did well. I've said this before, and I think that it's been more of an issue of getting it to work than not understanding the theory. But Metacooler should always be melee because that's just where his only strength is, and it showed this week.
No, his strength is lock-on buster, obviously.
Obviously,
right?
man.
Just like Trap Shooter.
Hey,
it
worked, didn't it?
For a B2 that supposedly, lock on is the whole thing in the name, it's never fucking hits. It's terrible. It's like four bars for like max of like 8 to 9k damage. It's really bad.
I think his targeting systems are faulty.
Needs more calibrations.
Yeah, all these new versions just keep screwing with his calibrations, man. God.
But it was really impressive. Frieza's, still kicking ass on that build. Was it King Cold they had in starting?
Yeah, and he did well. He went toe to toe with the Rayleigh. I was surprised.
That was scary. The fact that King Cold went that well against Rayleigh.
Yeah, it seems like a return almost to the really powerful Team Cold of Season 4, which is really, really cool to see. Well, not even Season 4, but just previous seasons in general.
Yeah, and also I was going to say, not only a return, but an interesting thing, an evolution, because it's a return in a different way. The Team Cold is nowhere near as reliant on ultimates as they used to be.
No,
but they're not afraid to throw them out just to help.
Right, that's true. Yeah, no, they're still have some really powerful ultimates, but the team of Season 4, that was their bread and butter. That was what terrified you, were those supernovas, and this one they still throw them out. But
I don't know. I still
don't get me wrong.
I still disagree with that.
No, don't get me wrong. I'm not calling them a one-trick pony. But I'm saying that if you asked the teams what they were scared of when facing Team Cold, it would have almost universally been the ultimates. But now there's just so many things to be afraid of.
Yeah,
they are turning into a very, very strong team, and the sudden change of coach does not seem to have bothered them in the slightest.
And
well, Cold seems
every
like
single one of them, save for King Cold, has supernova type ultimates. That's so good.
Yeah. You were saying, Kale?
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing I was going to say was, it looks like the Team Cold group is really good at kind of getting together and discussing their stuff, and even with the new coach, Rebel said, I think any of them could have possibly gone up there, and it still worked really well and cohesive.
Yeah, no, I agree. Oh
yeah.
Dokie then. Not much to say about the Valkyries really. Just they were not that impressive, and to be honest with you, they didn't get much of a chance to be impressive. But even so,
they kind of got rocked.
Yeah, they did. It was kind of sad, although oddly enough to be sort of expected from a Valkyries against Cold match. The Valkyries have had this thing where they've never been very good against them.
Well, especially when the Vals put out one of their best characters against them.
Yeah, that's also true. But yeah, On to the next match, the Dynamics versus Earth Defenders. Woo!
Yay!
Do.
God, second week in a row, Chaozu went up against a character with power body. God damn it!
It's almost like people are countering you hard.
Obviously, he needs demonic or whatever the thing is that breaks power body.
Draconicar, yeah, obviously.
Yeah, Draconicar, like Eternal Light. There you go. My build idea. Go.
It's honestly getting to that goddamn point. If Durangel actually finds where I'm putting Chaozu and puts power body against him, I'm gonna flip this goddamn table.
We have a table? Shit.
You're not sitting at the
table?
But
I'm still chained to the wall.
anyways, yeah.
I am the table.
A few people might have questioned our benching Goku. Right? Anyone?
I
Not
didn't,
really.
No.
but I'm on the team, so that doesn't count.
No?
Take you
Okay, so the main reason why we benched Goku was, one, we felt that Goku is the weakest in Melee. If you get a good meleeer in his face, he can't charge, and then he can't throw out B2s, and then he's basically useless. So that's why against the Nameks, a very strong Melee team, we decided to bench him. Plus, we felt that we could probably try and get a win through the rest of our team, because we felt they were solid. Tien didn't really do much. Krillin missed with 2 of his ultimates. It wasn't that great. Nameks pulled out a really good win. And to be honest, if Mid Goku had been there, probably would have lost anyways, in my opinion. With that performance.
Yeah, especially since, I mean, freaking Piccolo dodged all of Krillin's Destructor Disc, not even with a B1, just manually.
Yeah.
Well, he is the master of dodging.
That was damn impressive.
Yeah.
But, I mean, at least that's a good sign for Krillin that he is throwing out ultimates. They may not have hit, but you still have a character spamming ultimates.
Which is what we wanted.
Exactly, and that's why like, and I urge a lot of teams, especially new coaches and new supporters, this early in the season, you should be looking less at your wins and losses and more at what was working and knowing how to know what works. For example, like KO just pointed out, did the ultimates hit? No, but are they going to continuously miss if he keeps throwing them out? No. They will start hitting. They will start doing damage, and the very fact that Krillin was throwing them out means good things.
Also, I don't think he wasted a single B2 with an expanding energy wave during that whole match. I think he was only doing Kamehamehas and...
Oh, that's because on the
ultimates.
sideline they were holding a noose, and they were pointing to it whenever he considered the idea.
Yeah.
I hope it was
See,
18 holding the noose.
I don't understand this. The clash that he had between himself and Nail, he charged up his Kamehameha, plus he had Power of Rage, and he still lost that. What?
It's because God
God
hates
damn
you,
it, Krillin.
apparently.
Yes, apparently. Alright, enough about me bitching.
No, the Dynamics should be pretty happy. They've done reasonably well going through the past couple of weeks. It's not been great, but, you know, they're 1 for 1, and they're certainly not doing as badly as they did towards the end of last season. It's just going to be really, again, with the Dynamics are one of those teams that sort of, unlike a lot of the other teams that sort of pick up the pace, you know, going through the middle of the season and into the late season, sort of do the opposite and start almost like they just stop doing quite so well. It's really weird.
Like they're running out of steam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see whether or not they can keep that up. Going past like weeks 5 and 6, and hopefully for them they can.
Fingers crossed.
Okay, next match was Ginyu versus the Androids.
This match, it was so frustrating, because Ginyu Force was doing so well, and then they just stand in front of 2 charged up B2s.
It is difficult sometimes to point out exactly where a match went wrong, but They could have recovered. They did recover from Raccoon standing there and eating that B2. The difference is, the problem was Goldo having that in the bag and then eating 2 hugely powerful B2s when he didn't have to. He had him stunned. He had max power. All he had to do was anything. But instead, he ended up taking 2 B2s in a row, and that was the match.
As the former coach of the Ginyu Force, I can tell you that's what Goldo does. He builds up your hope. He does well for a bit and then just craps the bed.
When you take
So
the nappy
frustrating, because I want such great things for that team.
Yeah, it's they show moments of brilliance and then just kind of flop.
I now
And
now
it's really
Yeah, we're doing
disappointing.
awesome. We're doing great. We're doing awesome, and I'm tired. I'm gonna go take a nap.
Pretty much.
Now, I understand why they didn't play Jace, because they're facing the Boos next week, which is a divisional match. But I just wonder if Jace had been in, instead of like Ginyu or something, if they would have won.
Yeah,
Instead of
I don't know.
Ginyu, maybe not. Because by the time Ginyu got in there, he had such a hill to climb. I don't know if Jace could have climbed it either.
Yeah, but at least Jace wouldn't have, self-harmed himself like 3 times.
Right, but my point is, at that point, it was almost an assured loss anyway, so it was better that they actually rotated Jace out.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the androids are just terrifying.
Oh god, without a doubt.
The androids are doing awesomely. And again, the androids are just the one coach on their own at the minute. Occasionally coming to bounce ideas off me, and it's really... I don't know what it is about these individual coaches, but they're doing really well.
Hey, Androids had one coach last year too, and they made it to the Tenkaichi Bowl, so...
Yeah.
Yes.
And again, this season,
Yes, they did.
they're 2-0.
You know what was my favorite part of that match, though? I gotta say. Birder's Space Mock attack somehow beating out 8's charge attack.
I think it's... Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm still like, huh? My only guess is that it hit before he technically started charging.
Either that or he hit an odd angle, I don't know. I don't actually remember.
I'm willing to just accept that it's because he's the fastest in the universe.
Of course.
Sure, we'll go with that one.
How could you possibly disagree with it?
It's science.
Science does tend to disagree. Okay then, on to a really, really weird match. Boo! Against Muscle.
Holy crap, this match.
That match.
Sharpshooter.
Yeah, man.
I gotta say, it was one of the most exciting matches of the night, I think.
It's also one of the derpiest matches.
That's what made it so magical.
It was a crazy match, to be sure.
Like the sheer amount of time, just right at the end, the sheer amount of time it took either player to do anything was amazing.
Agreed.
Yeah. And it was so close at the end. Oh.
Yeah, it was literally within a brush blast or a melee combo.
Oh god,
Just
that was
finished it.
amazing.
Yeah.
I will say I'm liking Muscle. They're looking to be a very strong team this season. Basically, it looks like they've kept the momentum they gathered at the end of last season, which is good, which is great. I also like that the Boos are a much stronger team this season than they were last season.
But they still don't have a win, right?
Yeah, but like I said before, win-loss records they are important, of course. But we're 2 weeks in. What I look at more at this point in the season is potential, not results. Results,
Oh, yeah.
I look at more later on.
Oh yeah, no, I more meant like you see how powerful the Boos are, and they're still going up against teams. That
They're having a rocky start, to be sure. Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a really tough start for them. But I don't know, Muscle are still a team that confuses me because they've got that huge amount of potential behind them, and then at the same time, despite the fact that they've got those 2 wins, I don't know, it just feels like they've been off, like they haven't been playing that great. Like, it's because, the game against the Blues was really, really close. And the game against Ginyu, again, I felt really, really close, and it felt like it shouldn't have been. And, like, it's not... That's it. They're not convincing. They're not like Team Cold or the Androids convincing at the minute.
Yeah, I can see that.
Which is... I don't know. I think given that they are in North Kai Actually, no, they're not. They're in... Where are they?
But Muscle's in
Muscle?
North Kai.
They are in North Kai. Okay, good. Sorry, I've not got my glasses on. I can't actually see properly. But yeah, given the fact that they're in North Kai, I think that... I don't know if that's going to give them some problems later on in the season. Because the Super Saiyans are obviously getting... Super Saiyans are obviously really well under there. With their feet under them, the margins are setting off really strong. And it'll be interesting to see whether Muscle can keep up their wins. I mean, even if they're really close victories, they'll be important. I think that division's almost certainly going to come down to the divisional matches. More than almost any other, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, unless anybody's got anything else to add, we'll go on to the last match.
Go for it.
Okay, last match was Derp against the Rugrats. The Rugrats taking their second win of the season.
Man, Gotenks was really impressive this week.
Impressive when not against Devilman, though.
Yes, I like the addition of Devilman to Team Derp. However, I have to agree with Piff when I say I think that it should have been Salza taken out, not Supreme Kai.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I believe in the chat, Drangel was saying that he would have rather have gotten rid of Doria instead of Supreme Kai.
Well, two questions. Why didn't he? And two, why would he? Dodoria was far better than Supreme Kai or Salsa last season.
He couldn't because the team didn't want him to. He got outvoted. And it's because Dodoria is so slow.
But still better than Salsa or Supreme Kai.
I don't know. Salsa showed pretty good potential on the first week. This week, he went up against Gotenks, which is really hard.
Salza's always showed potential. But he's one of those characters that nobody seems to, or, the team hasn't seemed to be able to get to grips with him properly to make him work. I mean, he was one of the most powerful players back in Season 4. He was one of the reasons that Derp was nearly in North Kai. But when it comes down to it, he's fallen off, and I don't know, it feels like Derp's missing a trick somewhere with Salza. Like, that he has the potential to be really, really good, but just isn't. And I think the same thing goes with Supreme Kai at the time, was that there was the potential there for him to be absolutely amazing, and they were just missing a trick somewhere. I think getting rid of Supreme Kai was definitely the wrong choice, but hey. They're stuck with it for the season, so we'll see what they can do with the roster they've actually got.
Indeed.
Well, I think Durangel's one of those coaches that you can kind of see him being able to turn a character around. I mean, he did well with the Blades and turned some of those guys around.
Yeah, no, it's certainly possible. It's just going to require an awful lot of work, I think.
Yep.
Without a doubt.
But them Rugrats, yo.
Oh, Jesus.
I loved Gotenks, and I love the synergy they started hitting on with Gotenks, which I think that the Rugrats have been sorely lacking the past few seasons. Is the strengths with Gotenks is in his synergy and his enormous amount of life. And I won't go into the details, but the fact that it's taken this long to kind of catch on.
It is terrifying.
Yeah, it is. And I'm interested in seeing how Gotenks performs the rest of the season, if he performs.
But Clash Batars.
But those clashes, man.
Does it matter?
I mean, for the
no, it doesn't.
Hey, look at Gotenks. He's murdering entire teams by himself. Clash Batars? Yeah, fuck Clash Batars.
Right.
Now, you know what? We're putting Clash Batars back on because there's not enough Clash Batars on the team, so we're gonna put more Clash Batars on. But
that's how we're gonna nerf them if we have to.
Yeah,
Clash Batars.
Forced Dragon Power. Best.
But and you can't just say Gotenks either. The rest of the team did okay. I still wonder why GT Goku is not on a melee build. I don't. Maybe their tests tell them completely different things, but I look back and I wanted to preference that I haven't watched your tests, so I don't know what your tests have told you. But just look back at past seasons. Every time GT Goku was on top, it was because of his melee game.
I remember last season when they faced my team. I think we were in the lead, but then they just brought it right back to like a bar of health solely because of GT Goku and his melee.
Yeah. Yeah, and especially on his last health bar, that was where he really shined. He was really, really impressive.
Yeah. I honestly think that he should be a melee build with an emphasis on indignation and the like. Because damn, not indignation, serious.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't know where the logic is in not having him there. Whether or not they're going to continue that over the next week or so, I think it would be a really bad decision to do so.
Yeah, but I'm just happy to see that they have Gotenks so down and good and.
Well, it was 1 week. Let's hold out judgment a little bit. He did amazing, yes, but it was only 1 week. We need to see if he can be consistent.
That's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree. But the potential's there that they've not been unlocking before, so they're certainly on the right path, I think.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay then. Right, there are no more matches. So unless anyone has anything to add about the week as a whole, we can get on to some of the questions.
Is really good.
I do like that it does seem like a lot of the league is going towards trying to counter teams. I like seeing that. I really do. I think it helps the matches.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how teams that have traditionally been very strong at countering other teams like Dragon Ball Warriors and Earth Defenders are actually going to come out towards the latter part of the season, whether or not they'll be able to turn that around. Because obviously they don't have that much information to go off at the beginning of the
Right,
season,
that's true.
so,
Yeah.
Yeah, you have a very good point. They get stronger as the season progresses because they know their enemy is better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
then
why I haven't even bothered for the past couple of weeks to try because I have the preseason to go on and week 1 to go on. That's not enough.
Yeah, the
information.
preseason's nothing to go on. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
We know that because we were not using anything.
Right?
And you still won.
Yeah,
and
I
then
don't-
completely fucked up the next couple of weeks.
Try going over.
Yeah.
Try doing those builds again.
Yeah, no, it might actually work out for you. It might be hilarious. I think that's one thing that's actually really interesting is for teams like Dragon Ball Warriors and Earth Defenders in particular. I think is very relevant. Maybe slightly less so for the Dragon Ball Warriors. I think in terms of like having Nam and Tao. But in terms of like preparing builds for other teams specifically, I think when it comes to a situation like where you have no information about your opponent, that's where you really struggle because you don't have like teams like Cold, right? You know that for a team like Cold, you can generally say, okay, here is what makes Frieza strong. And you say, okay, Frieza can go out against pretty much any kind of person and wreck face. There is that potential there. King Cold is good enough at everything, potentially, to do well against anyone and exceptionally against others. Metacooler is going to struggle against a certain type of character, but for the most part is going to be pretty solid. Cooler, very good at a certain thing. Mecha Frieza, kind of good at everything. Same goes for the Super Saiyans with, their entire roster of players, and I think to a certain degree the androids and Valkyries as well. They have a number of players that are really, really good at everything, or have the potential to be really, really good at everything, and then they have a few players that are not so great at everything, but have this one thing where they're really specialized and they're really good at. And those teams, their counters to other teams are more like their rotation, and where they place their players in their lineup. Or even not necessarily having to worry too much, because they're just so strong that there's nothing to really grab hold of, and that it's kind of down to the opponent to try and pick apart their weaknesses. Whereas teams like Earth Defenders, and to a lesser extent I think Dragon Ball Warriors, seem to struggle. I think Ginyu's another one as well, actually, that struggles with that, is having, like, they've got things they can do, but their base builds aren't necessarily that really, really strong, solid, with the exception of maybe a couple of players. And so they build, their strength comes from building to counter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, I think in that case we're okay to go on to the questions.
Yay,
Yes.
questions!
Yay!
Okay, I think that makes the most sense. I think the first one comes from To Be Wolf. I think that's where we're starting from. Which team do you see being the top dogs of their divisions now that you've had 3 weeks to judge them? We haven't. We've had 2, and I think it's way too early to tell.
Agreed, especially
Yeah.
since a lot of teams have been so different between week 1 and week 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I think generally you can see like the margins, the androids, and cold being dominant, but that's off the first 2 weeks, which is nothing really to go on. And also, this West Kai teams have really not got that much going for them, to be honest with you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's like I was saying earlier with the countering and all of that stuff, there's just no information to go on. Teams can't build around each other, and we can't predict as well.
Yeah, I know it's a favorite question to ask us for some reason. No matter how many times we tell you guys, we don't like predicting, because especially early in the season, and of course towards the end of the season, what's the point? Because everyone can predict at that point.
Yeah.
But we don't like predicting because it's too volatile to give you a good answer.
Yeah, absolutely.
I could get in Magic 8 Ball and we could predict that way though, if you wanted.
Let's
It'll
roll
just
a
say
D20.
try again later.
Yeah.
Okay, next question is from Does This Work? What do you think about the idea of the Valkyries sitting out Fasher? Kind of covered that already, but they have to sit Fasher out at some point, so you'd be surprised if they sat Fasher out in a divisional match, so sitting him out in a non-divisional match at the start of the season, when you know you've got a solid player, is not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you have to remember that Team Cold last season was abysmal. Team Cold was almost a guaranteed win for most teams. So, sitting out your strongest player against Team Cold is not necessarily a bad idea. I think people will start realizing that it is a bad idea, but that'll take a few weeks.
Right. I don't necessarily disagree with it, because like you said, Team Cold wasn't that impressive. And it's not too hard to think that Frieza's performance in week 1 was going to be a flash in the pan. So,
yeah, Frieza certainly had those kind of performances before. Everyone on Team Cold has. I remember back, I can't remember if it was season 3 or season 4, where King Cold was basically touted as being the next best player in the league. Behind certain other players. Like, he was the strongest player on Cold at one point. Because he was just doing that well. But, not so much.
Yeah, and
like you brought up.
And like you brought up with the divisional match next week, that adds a whole nother level of having to play around with who you're sitting and not.
Yeah. Okay then. Next question comes from Harume. So what are your opinions about Team Cold this season compared to last season so far? Are you scared yet?
I'm getting there. I will say that I am becoming a believer in Frieza in final form. If he keeps this kind of performance up, I will agree that it outweighs the potential health he could gain. And I will say that was not an easy thing to convert me to. As long as Frieza doesn't drop the ball from here on, I think that you guys made a good choice.
Absolutely. And it seems like the rest of the team is kind of following suit to actually bring up the standard as well. So, so far, so good for you guys.
Yeah,
definitely.
Whatever you did to Metacooler, keep it. For the love of God, I hope you have found something that makes him work.
And definitely better than last season, without a doubt.
Oh no, absolutely.
Yeah.
Last season was very, very weird.
Mm-hmm.
From champions or from like finalists to South Kai
It was like going back
bizarre.
to season 1.
Yeah.
Where we actually we used to talk about them being stuck in the pit of infinite losers. So.
Mm-hmm. I think the only time they came out and actually won a game in season 1 or 2 games in season 1 was first against the Ginyu Force and then against the Valkyries. And they've just beaten the Valkyries every time since then. It's been hilarious. But yeah. Okay. Next question is from GamerJunkie27. What game is the biggest surprise to you this week?
For me, it was Bobbity, because I didn't think he would ever do that well. But that's me being selfish.
I think the match between the Gohans and Super Saiyans, actually, I was expecting that to be a lot more in the Super Saiyans' favour. And the fact that, you know, it went the way it did and then turned around in the way it did was kind of awesome.
For me, it was the Namek starting out with Power Body, early Piccolo. So, yeah.
For me, it was the comeback of Okay, well, most surprising for me was probably Goldo, just standing there after doing so well. But I think that the comeback, the whole match between Muscle and Boo was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Crimson Flame is asked the next question. Expanding on to Beowulf's question, which teams do you think will finish at the bottom of their respective division now that you have a vague idea of team performance? Still think it's too early to tell.
Yeah, not even going to answer that one,
Yeah, like all of the teams that are currently 0 and 2 have the potential to not be 0 and 2 anymore. So, you know.
Can we just make a rule of don't ask that question because we're not going to answer it?
Yeah.
Because I know people love asking that question, and I cannot count the number of times people have asked and we've said, we don't know.
We have no way of reasonably saying. Right, next question from him is, with these 2 weeks of teams trialling Power Body with mixed results, how influential do you think the Potara has been so far?
I think it's been influential, but most people don't realize or don't understand is that Power Body is going to be a behind-the-scenes influencer. It's not going to be a big and flashy thing where you're like, look, that's why they won. No, it's going to be a nice, small undercurrent that will help you get wins.
Yeah, it'll be like something, oh, he was able to get out of this because of Power Body, not, oh, he was able to win the match because of Power Body.
Yeah, absolutely. Next question comes from Ascension. Oh, Cold fans showing out in force, apparently. If Cold can show the same performance as the last 2 games versus Super Saiyans, how long of a win streak do you think Team Cold can go on based on their schedule? Like 15-0. What? The potential's there for you to win every game. It's not entirely unreasonable for that to be a thing. You know, performing like the Super Saiyans last season, it wasn't unreasonable given the way that they were playing for them to win every single game. On the other hand, it wouldn't have been all that unreasonable for their win-loss record to be quite a lot less than that. So, you could go on and win every game from here on out. Your players are certainly solid enough and strong enough to do so. I think it's highly unlikely, but, you know, possible.
Yeah, and I think a good amount of it's going to come to if the opposing teams can counter against what this new Cold can do.
Yeah.
Because I think, you know, like Squee said, you know, some teams might be going off of what Cold did last season, and if this is a completely different Cold, the later teams in the season will be able to counter against this new Cold better.
Yeah. And then it's a case of how well Cold figures out their opponents coming up.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Okay, next question is from Andy GM. What was the most entertaining match for you this week, and what match was the most competitive? I think competitive-wise, it's obviously Boo versus Muscle.
I think that's both my most competitive and my most entertaining, actually.
Agreed, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a very good match.
It was a pretty good match. Yeah, no, I'll probably agree with that. Next question is from Zestan. What do you think of the Super Saiyans' performance as of right now? Pretty good.
Yeah, they've been doing well.
Yeah, they've dealt with the hand that they were given pretty well. They've bounced back reasonably well, and there's some promising stuff there. They need to keep it up, they need to keep going, but yeah, good. Okay. Okay, anything?
No, pretty much just, you know, they're doing well.
It's pretty, like, this is only week 2, folks. There's not that much we can do in terms of, there's not a huge amount of stuff for us to analyze, so.
Yeah.
Next question comes from Biggles. this question is for all of you to answer. Does all your duties over the league start to feel like too much? Personally, occasionally, but
I've been lucky that I think that our seasons are the perfect length because towards the end of each season, once we start getting into the postseason, I start getting a little burnt out. But this season ends, I've got about a month or two, I would say a month or two of less activity. We still have to do stuff, but a month or two where I can kind of put it on the back burner. And by the time it gets back, I'm excited for it again. So,
and
yeah.
I do less work than all three of these guys, so it never feels like too much for me.
Every once in a while, it starts to weigh on me, but that's why you take breaks.
Yeah, I mean, it varies from week to week. When there's absolutely nothing going on, and I don't mean like there's no Dragonball Z League. I mean, for me personally, when there's absolutely nothing going on, then I don't even think about it. It's not even there. And then you will have like a week or two or even a month where it just starts going like every day. There's hours and hours of shit to sort out and things to be thinking about and considering and dealing with, and it's just awful.
Like the off season.
Yeah, yeah. It was a lot of stuff to deal with, and then that can be a pretty big problem. But it's offset by the breaks and stuff, and you just turn around and say, right, someone else deal with this. I'm going for a week. I'm done. Come back vaguely refreshed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. He also has a question for Burn. How do you predict what a team is going to do in the next week? Or how would you suggest going about predicting other teams' plans as you plan your match? Because I think that's where some teams fall short sometimes.
Chicken Bones, I believe, is his method. He tosses them up in the air and then he reads them as they land.
Yeah, definitely. It gets a lot easier during the end of the season, or at least towards the middle of the season.
When the bones are cleaner and easier to read.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You basically try and get into the coaches and the supporters' heads. Try and see, do they see you as a threat? Who have they benched so far? Who do you think, or who would they think would be the best bench against you? Who do you think they would put out first? That kind of thing. That's I literally, for all of last season, when it got to week 6 or so, would sit in my chair for a good 2 hours before actually making the builds. Just sitting there staring at my computer screen thinking.
He's very much a voyeur.
What? What?
Getting into teams' heads, looking into what they're doing. I mean, come on, Burn. It's like
basically
stalkerish. I can do.
He's creeping, yo. You see, like, the coach of the Valkyries just sitting there, like, gardening and whatnot, and you see, like, Burn's head just come up over the bush. Right, lower back down.
What you working on?
Who are you rotating?
You're one to tell me.
How do you stop a Rayleigh?
Thank fuck I didn't need to deal with her last season. Good God.
Have fun this season, yo.
Yeah, let's see how that luck roads.
It's fine. I don't face them at their map. Cause androids
that will be the
in water. Androids in water are fucking scary, dude. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, 18 had a really good charge rate, didn't she?
Yeah.
Just a little bit. Alright, next and final question is from Frozen Savior. Who do you see as the most improved player or players so far this season?
Meta Cooler?
Yeah, I guess.
No, I don't think Cell, because he was always good.
I think he's improved a huge amount, though. Like, in terms, like, he was good before, and he was scary.
I agree. Yeah, Cell.
I think Frieza's another one. You know, definitely a surprising jump in his ability. Bobbity, maybe.
Oh God, yes.
Medical is another one that's certainly doing pretty well.
Just cold in general.
Cold in general, yeah. Well, what were they like 2 and something last season, or 3 and something?
Yeah, I think 3 and something. Let me check.
It was not exactly that impressive. Yeah, I don't know. Go Tanks, I guess, if you want to do that. I mean, it's early to tell, but for all of those players, but yeah. Pretty much it.
Cold actually went 5 and 10 last season.
Wow. Where did they get that many wins from?
Yep.
Who gave those games away? I don't understand.
Who laid down? Huh? Huh?
Who's giving up?
Who
Oh.
laid on the grenade, man? Come on, man.
Well, one of them was DB Warriors.
Oh.
Well,
Ouch.
Dragonball Warriors letting the team down.
Yep.
Okay. I think it's about time we get on to the matches for week 3, and we have a lot of divisional matches apparently.
Yes, we do.
Oh yeah.
4 of them.
Yeah, first match of the week is a divisional match between the Valkyries and Dragonball Warriors. Predictions, please, gentlemen.
I think with the Vals having Fasha, that would beat out Dragon Ball Warriors having Namback. I'm going with the Vals.
Ooh.
I'm going with the Vals too. I like the Dragon Ball Warriors, but given their rocky start and given the Vals have shown that they're still a very powerful team, they lost this week, yes, but that still were nice contenders. I think Vals can win this.
Yeah, I'm thinking Vals as well. It really depends on who they bench, though. Because I could see if Vals bench, say, a woman, them having a rockier start.
I think that might even be their strongest lineup.
Pan?
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm
Pan's
still
pretty
not a
good.
huge. She's okay.
She
Compared to the rest of the
flip-flops.
team, she's okay. Say a woman's better than her.
Not sure I agree with that, but I still think
Yeah.
the Valkyries have the slight edge in that one. Although,
They
if we
do.
see a return to, Dragon Ball Warriors of last season, then it's certainly not out of the realms of possibility that they take that one.
It also depends on how well Tao performs, because good God. Both games that we've seen Tao, he's almost got it back himself.
Yeah, Tao's
So
a very,
it-
very good player. He's one of their strongest players in on their entire team. Which, yeah, it's kind of terrifying, really. But hey, match 2 is Blades versus the Saiyans. Another divisional match.
Oh, this one's a tough one.
If it was last
Yeah.
season, I'd have immediately gone for the Blades, but I think this season, pretty much have to say the Saiyans. The Blades have started off really, really poorly so far. It's not just the fact that they're 0-2; it's that their matches weren't particularly close either. So I think the Saiyans have got this.
Yeah, I have to
Just
agree
about.
with you.
Yeah, I'm with you on
Yeah.
that. I really do. And like I said, I'm excited to see what Raditz can do next week.
Definitely be interesting. Go on, Kay.
I mean, I faced both of those teams so far already, and I think.
Yeah,
between
no,
the
that
two-
impressive. It's whatever.
No, I really
No,
do
it's
think
fine.
Saiyan has a little better shot, just from
Yeah.
personal experience.
Yeah. Although against you, they benched Tapion, so I don't know.
Yeah, Tapion still wasn't doing that great.
Yeah, he wasn't.
Match 3 is not a divisional match. It is Gohan's versus Margins.
Margins.
Might be a little biased here, but
You gotta say Gohan's, aren't you? Traitor.
you know what? If Gohan's had Super Saiyan 2, Team Gohan, I would have been, but I think without him, I think I have to go my team still.
Yeah, definitely.
I honestly think it's going to be a tough one to call because I think from what we've seen with the Gohan so far, they could win this. They're strong enough to win it. I'm going to say Majins, probably just because I think they've got a slightly stronger team, but I would not be surprised at all to be wrong.
Yeah, no, I agree. I'm gonna say the Gohans, because I was quite impressed by what I saw last week with the exception of Teen Gohan.
Okay, I see how it is.
Yeah. No support from Miko. Go sulk.
Oh.
Match 4 is going to be another really interesting one, a non-divisional one. Super Saiyans versus Cold.
Whoa, gosh.
Ugh.
I'm gonna say Team Cold. If they keep up their performance, Super Saiyans are strong, but they're not what they were last season. They're still kind of building up, and Cold is on fire right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to
Yeah.
agree with that.
And Cold, doesn't have any of the divisional matches until the later part of the season, so they're going to be quite capable of coming out with a really strong team. So I think Cold probably has the advantage, just about. I think if the Super Saiyans can bring out the right team and can bring out a really strong performance, I think they can take it. But so far, Team Cold have been as solid generally, but with just Frieza as that star player.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have to agree. As long as Frieza's still in, then Cold shouldn't have an issue.
Okay, next match, another divisional one: the Rugrats versus the Androids. Another really tough one to call. Looking forward to this week.
Yeah, this one's really going to depend on who gets rotated out.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm going to go for the Androids.
Androids versus who again?
Rugrats.
Ooh, I'm probably gonna go for the androids again. Yeah, I need to see more from the Rugrats before I can commit to them.
Yeah. Yeah,
I-
I'm gonna go with androids as well.
I'm actually going to go with the Rugrats because that's how impressed I was with Gotenks, and here's hoping that they can keep him doing that.
Here's the problem, though. I love Gotenks too, but he's got to get fused first. And he's got to be able to do good enough to get over the loss of the fourth man. Now, last week he did it. I think he's got the potential to do it, but I have to see him do it consistently before I'm on board.
Agreed. Next match, another divisional one: Boo versus the Guinea Force. I think Boo are going to take that one. I see Boo surging back.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see the Boos taking that. They're gonna have enough time.
Yeah, the Guinea Force aren't as weak as they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
UK.
As long as Kid Boo performs, I think the Boos will take it. But like you guys said, Ginyu won't go down without a fight.
Yeah.
I think a lot of it depends on who they rotate out. If they rotate out Ginyu, you know what? If they rotate out Ginyu, I'm gonna go for the Ginyu Force. If Goldo keeps up his consistency, I can't imagine that he'll pull off such a horrible derp 2 weeks in a row. I hope not. And while the Boos are getting stronger, they're still. I mean, I still think the Ginyu Force can beat them.
That's not outside the realms of possibility. Alright, match 7, Muscle versus Namek.
I'm going with Muscle on this one.
I agree.
Agreed.
It could have just been them beating me that impressed me so much. Although they're going to have to bench one of their really good characters for King Pick, which against Muscle is probably not a good idea. King Pick is going to probably not do very well against them. I'm gonna go with Muscle.
Okay. And the final match of the week. I haven't missed anyone for that one, have I?
No, I think you're good.
Okay. Last match of the week, Earthfenders versus Derp.
Well, I already know what I'm voting for.
Yeah, I was
Right.
gonna say I like Derps taking steps in the right direction. I think Devilman's scary, but I don't think that team is there yet. And I think Earth Defenders has had a bit of a rocky start, but they're still a team to be scared of. So I think Earth Defenders will take it.
I think... Go on, Kay.
I think Derp, just because they have the champ, and he can't lose.
No,
He's
that's
stolen-
Cyborg Tao.
No,
Cyborg Tao
he's-
can't lose.
No, Tao stole that from Hercule, and he just branded it first. So, no, I do think Derp Just because I don't know. I got something with week 3s. I think this is the week they're really going to show us that they know what they're doing with their guys.
I think it's going to be a really interesting match. You know, the Earth Twins have really, really struggled over the past couple of weeks. So, it's going to be interesting. I am going to agree with KO.
Yes!
Because I think it could be very, very close. On the other hand, it could be a complete slaughterfest one way or another. That'd be fun too.
We'll find out on Sunday.
Apparently. Alright. Unless anybody has anything to add, or I've forgotten something, which is not entirely outside the realm of possibility, then I think we are done for this Zcast, gentlemen.
Yeah, it's kind of sad that teams are acting competently, so we don't have a lot of heads to bite off or anything.
Yeah, you bastards.
Yeah, just someone throw a match next week.
Yeah, KO, get on there.
No.
Alright, Burn, get on there.
Alright, Team Muscle, put Broly's ring on everyone so that we can yell at you for illegal builds and stupidity. That would make me happy.
Yeah.
Because not
So-
that we have anything against you, but we need someone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry about that. That screw up with the stream.
Oh, don't worry about it, dude. It got all sorted out.
oh, that reminds me of one thing. Should we bring up the power body thing in here just to be sure?
All right. Yeah.
Yeah, sure, we should do that. We're making a change to the rules. It was an oversight on our part that we didn't actually list this, but we've put it in the rules since, and every team should be aware if your character has any sort of healing B1s, rebirth, sleep, whatever, you cannot put power body on that character. It is illegal because it is incredibly overpowered.
Just tiny bit.
Indeed. I think a lot of us have hangovers from like the seasons that Power Body was actually in, where it's like, yeah, obviously this is banned for this, and so we just leave it and completely forgot about it. So yeah, that wasn't our best move.
Yeah, but I mean, we caught it only 2 weeks into the season.
Yeah,
so
no, we did.
At least it's not week 15.
Exactly. It's not like it's week 14 and you can look at like one team and go, oh, wow.
Fuck.
Son of a bitch.
This is why they've been winning. Shit.
Bastards.
Yajirobe with
Alright.
power body. Fuck.
Worst plan ever. It'd be so bad.
No, Halo would be the worst plan ever.
Hey, Yamcha actually did well with it.
Yeah, then he ditched it. Oh, what the fuck was
Yeah.
that about?
He did well with it against a team that had preseason builds. I wouldn't read too
I
much into
know.
that.
God. Alright, folks. We will end it for there, and we will see you guys next week.
Yay!
Till then, bye.